Guys, it's Sarah and I have my January book haul for you today. I have 9 books I'm going to talk about. These are books that I bought with gift cards and also just some stuff that I got at Goodwill. But after I talk about these books, I'm going to talk a little bit about what my book hauls are going to look like for the rest of this year because I am going to be changing some things up. So here's what I got. The first book that I picked up at Goodwill is Americanah by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. I hope I didn't butcher that. This is a book that I've actually been hearing a lot about and about this author as well. And this actually won one of the best books of the year by one of the 10 best books of the year by the New York Times Review. So that's a pretty good honor. And I believe that this is about an African girl, or maybe more than one, who actually come to America and kind of their transition. But I have heard very, very good things about this book and about this author in general. So when I saw it at Goodwill, I was happy to grab it. Another book that I grabbed at Goodwill is called Speak, and this is by Lori Howes Anderson. I actually heard about this book on Books and Lala's channel. Her name is Kayla, but she read this book last year and really, really liked it. This, I believe, is about a girl in high school who is assaulted at a high school party. She becomes an outcast and she literally stops speaking. So I've just heard it's very good, and a lot of people are saying that it should be something that kids read in school because of, the high school aspect and being assaulted at a party. Unfortunately that does happen. So I'm excited to read this, and it's pretty short, so I think this could be a good readathon book, definitely. But yeah, and it's a good copy. And the last book that I picked up at Goodwill, I was really excited because this one has been on my mind for a couple of months now. I've been hearing people read it and really like it, and it's a genre that I want to get more into this year. And so I picked up Between Shades of Grey by Ruta Sepetys, I think is how you say her name. This is a historical fiction. Historical fiction is probably the genre that I'm most uncomfortable in, but it's also something when I actually do read historical fiction, I end up really enjoying it, so I don't know why it still intimidates me. So I'm trying to get over that and just read some more. So when I heard people talking about this, I heard Reagan from Peruse Project and also Haley from Hale's Hearts NYC. They both read this recently and really, really were just raving about it. This, I believe, follows a post-World War II type of environment where there is a train that is taking refugees or concentration camp type situation from Lithuania, I believe is what that is. That's what I'm remembering from hearing people talk about it. But it's an actual event that happened, and with the concentration camp and all that, and the Holocaust kind of the main focus of that time period, this one wasn't talked about that much. So I think that's really cool and something a little bit different. I have read a few books about, Holocaust and stuff like that, but I'm excited to read something a little bit different. So yeah, I was really excited when I saw this at Goodwill. Okay, all the rest of the books I'm about to talk about I got from Barnes & Noble. I ended up having 2 $25 gift cards, so I used those bad boys. So the first one I picked up was Passenger by Alexander Bracken. This was on my most anticipated releases of 2016. It came out January 5th, so it was kind of no question I was going to pick this up, and Alexander Bracken is a author I have not read yet and I want to read this year. I actually might pick this up in February is what I'm thinking right now. I'm hearing really, really good things about it. This follows a young girl who learns that she can time travel, and she ends up time traveling because she is kind of tasked with finding an object that belonged to her family, so she has to go back in time and do that. Along her travels, she meets a boy who is also a time traveler, and he's from, I believe, the 1800s, something like that. And so you kind of see them meet and go on their adventures together. So I'm really excited. I really love this cover, and you know what I love even more? This, look at that, guys. Oh, it's so pretty. Oh, that's my favorite color. And then the silver tree. Oh, I love it. Like, I almost want to take the dust jacket off and just keep it like that, but I won't because I do love this cover as well. But that's always a really nice surprise. When I read it and I take the dust jacket off, it's gonna still be pretty. Another book that I picked up at Barnes & Noble is another book that was on my 2016 anticipated releases, and that's Truth Witch by Susan Dennard. Susan Dennard is another author I have not read yet either. She wasn't on my official list to try out this year, I don't really know why, but I have a lot of authors I want to try because of people I'm hearing about, but I knew I was going to pick this up sometime this year anyway. But this follows a group of witches, or a pair of witches, who are best friends, and one of them is a truth witch, which means that she can tell when people are telling the truth or not, and it's something that she keeps hidden so that people don't, try to confuse her or, whatever. She kind of keeps that to herself. She's also best friends with a thread witch, which is a witch that can tell how people are connected, how they are related or connected, or, something like that. So that's all I know about it, but I have heard a lot of people talking about this and a lot of people really loving it who have already read it. So that makes me more excited to read this. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about this one. This next book that I picked up at Barnes & Noble is something that has been out since last year, but I've been intrigued by it so much, and then I finally just decided I'm going to just go ahead and buy this book, and that is Illuminated by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. There we go. This is a science fiction young adult fantasy book about planets, and I believe the two main characters were romantically involved, and then they break up towards the beginning, but then something big happens and they have to band together and try to figure out what's happening, and it's like planets and stuff like that. But the cool thing about this book is that it's told through like correspondence, so emails and instant messages and case files and things like that, and it's supposed to be really, really cool and really interesting, and it's supposed to read really quickly, but you don't get lost in everything. You can follow it really well. I've also heard the audiobook for this is really good, so I may pick up the audiobook from my library and then read along, in the book at the same time and listen to it while I'm reading. I think that's going to be my plan. But this also, it has a beautiful cover. Look at that. Oh, it's so pretty and it's really smooth. So when I do read this, I'll take the dust jacket off of it. But it's so cool. This is one of the coolest books that's probably going to be on my bookshelf. So I'm really happy that I grabbed it. These last three books that I picked up at Barnes & Noble is the first three books in a series. There's 4 total, but I didn't grab the 4th one yet. So I picked up the Lunar Chronicles. So I picked up Cinder, which is the first book, Scarlet, which is the second book, and Cress, which is the 3rd book. There is a 4th book called Winter. I did not purchase that yet because I am getting these in the paperback. So that one's not out in paperback yet because it just came out, I believe, in the beginning of December. So I have to wait for that one. But these are sci-fi retellings of fairy tales. Cinder is about Cinderella, Scarlet is about Little Red Riding Hood, and Cress is about Rapunzel, and then Winter is about Snow White. So I have heard literally nothing but good things about this. Everyone who has read it that I've seen has raved about it. I have not seen any wishy-washy stuff. Literally, I haven't. So that really made me want to get this, and this is going to be very, very high on my priority for an entire series to read this year. So I have these, and then as soon as Winter comes out in paperback, I'm going to be grabbing that as well. But yeah, super excited for these. Okay, so now I want to talk for a few minutes about my book buying habits. I've really had an epiphany lately, especially over the holidays, about how many books I'm buying versus how many of those books I'm reading. And I decided to make a little inventory of that. So I went through my booktube channel, which I'm really glad I have it now because I had this reference. I went through and started in June and wrote down every book that I bought based on my book hauls, because every time I bought a book, I would talk about it. And then I would look at my wrap-ups and see how many physical books off my bookshelf I was reading. I did not count Kindle books because those are not physically taking up space in my house, and that's the big issue I've been having with this problem so far, is because I don't have a ton of bookshelf space. My bookshelves are crammed packed right now, and I literally can't fit any more on my shelves. And I was getting to a point where I was stacking them on my fireplace hearth, and I was like, okay, this is just kind of looking not very good. So I did a little mini purge, just got some stuff off my shelf that's been there for way too long that I'm just not, if I haven't picked it up in 10 years, I'm not going to. So I went ahead and got rid of those things, and then I was able to fit everything onto my shelves now. But I decided that, I was going to go through and kind of see how much I was bringing in versus how much I was reading off of my shelves, whether I got rid of them or not. And it was not very good, guys. The ratio was not good. I think between June and December, I bought 84 physical books, and I had only read, mm, I don't remember the number, but I want to say it was like 9 or 10. So those are not very good odds. So I did read a lot on my Kindle, but it's not the same. And I got things from the library, but that's, they come, but then they go back. So physical books, bringing in versus getting out was not good. And that's why I was having this problem with storage space and everything like that. So I do have it to a point now where all my books fit on my shelf, but I still want to be able to read some and then donate them, because I know that there are some books on my shelf, excuse me, that I'm going to absolutely love and I'm going to want to keep them forever. But there's also books on my shelf I know that I'm going to read it, I'm going to enjoy it, but I'm not going to want to keep it for the long haul. I only tend to keep books on my shelf that I have read, that I have loved, that I would want to read again someday, that I want my children to read someday, just like, like 5-star favorites. This is one of the best books I've ever read type thing. I would love for my bookshelves to be just that. So I'm kind of trying to make better decisions, about number one, what I bring into my house. I don't want to bring something in if I'm unsure whether or not I'm going to like it, or if it's just going to be like a fun little read, or if I've never heard of it, I just grabbed it on a whim. Just things like that. I'm trying not to actually physically buy those. I want to save those types of things for the library, because I have 2 great libraries here that I can use, and I kind of want to go that route instead. That way I can bring it in, but then I can take it back without, feeling guilty or spending, $10+ on them. Another thing that I would like to do is I'm going to follow in the footsteps of Penelope, and I will leave her channel link down below. She has a really great booktube channel. She is going to do this year the read 3 before you buy 1. So I have to read 3 books before I can buy 1 book. And this is going to be books both on my bookshelf and on my Kindle. I'm going to include Kindle books because I do purchase them. And, I may want to purchase a Kindle book as well. I'm not stressing about those quite so much as far as, restricting myself on buying them, because they do not take up physical room on my bookshelf. So I'm going to save the buying one for actual physical books. And those will probably be books that I either can't get at my library, or, it's not that much more to buy it physically than it is to get it on Kindle. Sometimes the prices are not worth the Kindle price, but whatever. So what I did was, in my planner here, I have a little space that I put buy 3 or read 3 to buy 1. Then I already have them numbered. So I'm going to read 3 and then I can buy 1. And then I'll read 3 and then I can buy 1. And I'm going to write them down so that I know. For example, I know that when Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas comes out in paperback, probably around September-ish, I know I'm going to buy that book, because that is part of a series that I'm collecting and that I love. And I'm just waiting for it to come out in paperback right now. So I know that around September time, I'm going to be buying a book. So I need to make sure that I have 3 read before September so that I can buy that book. So it's going to be something good that I can plan ahead. And I think it's going to push me more to read the books off of my shelves instead of, going to the library or doing something like that. And since I am including Kindle books on here, I'm going to have to see how it goes. I'm going to give it about 6 months and then see if I'm still kind of collecting too many books on my bookshelf. Then I will kind of have to rethink the whole Kindle thing. But I'm just going to see how it goes. I'm going to see how it goes. I'm going to give it until June and then just kind of see what my ratio is. I'm going to keep track of it. And if it's still kind of way too many buying than reading versus, reading off my bookshelves, then I'll tweak it and I'll say I have to read 3 physical books off my bookshelf before I can buy another physical book. And that's fine. And I wanted to do 3 because sometimes I'm going to want to keep a book. I read To Kill a Mockingbird last year and it ended up being one of my favorite books of all time. I'm not getting rid of that thing. That thing is my precious now. So I read it, but I'm not going to get rid of it. So another thing I want to think about is when I do go for my bookshelves, maybe, make a conscious effort to pick something that I am probably going to be okay donating later on. So things like that. Okay. So I think I've rambled enough. Please let me know if you guys have any questions at all. And so my wrap-ups are probably going to be fewer and far in between, but I'm good with that. My book buying needs to go down most definitely. And I do plan on utilizing my library a lot more, so I'll probably do library hauls if I go and, like, you know, get 4 or 5 books. I'll do a little library haul as well. Okay, so please let me know if you have any questions. I will be happy to answer them. Let me know what you guys purchased in January and what you're excited to read. If you read any of these books that I picked up today, let me know how you liked them. No spoilers. Yes, okay, I will talk to you guys again soon. Hope you have a great day. Bye.